tags. So here the action tag plugin is an action tag, action JSP tag, which is responsible to generate a HTML file, which in turns can have a Java plugin which can execute an applet. Okay, so an applet or a Java bean. Okay, so Java bean is a concept like we create a reusable components, and those reusable components can be added like an uh, object with the help of JSP plugin. Okay. So now it is an alternate way to deploy applets. So actually there is a direct way to deploy the applets in web pages. Actually applet itself is outdated, so learning these things is not that much important, but still JSP plugin you need to know that what it will do. Okay, so since JSP pages are dynamic in nature, the developers of web application can make use of Java plugins to generate browser specific tags. Okay, so we can insert our own tags and we can create an applet on the fly and we can use that applet. So actually JSP colon plugin action tag generates a embed or object tag. It will generate, okay, for the applet to be executed depending upon the browser. So some browsers execute embed, some browser execute object. Okay, so if you understand this principle, like what is this tag is, so it actually tried to generate an embed tag which is of HTML version. Okay, uh, some HTML tags like embed and object is used to embed the objects. So here we have seen what is the importance of this. Okay, we'll try to add some, objects inside of our HTML page that we have seen in the static web pages. So now depending upon the browser, either it generate an embed or object. So when the JSP is translated, the JSP plugin action element is substituted either by embed or by object HTML tag. So you just have to remember that in the translation phase it will either generate a embed or an object tag. Okay, so now let us write an example of this. Okay, like JSP plugin, it has a type. Okay, so the type of this is I want to embed an applet, so it will generate an applet for me, and the code is nothing but this will be an dot class file which will be executed upon the call. So I have to create an Java file with a name called as a message, and that I have to convert that to dot class file. So here the code is for that. Okay, and it can also accept certain parameters. So these parameters will be sent to this message actually. So how to send the parameters to this message code is nothing but in this very similar manner what we had done earlier, JSP colon param, then we can provide name like m. So this will be a parameter for this that is passed to this. Okay, value equal to I give some hello CSC. Okay, now so this JSP param, we can use this. So you can pass multiple parameters with the help of another tag called JSP action tag, which will accept params. Okay, so if you want to pass multiple parameters, you can include that into params and you can send it. Okay, JSP colon params. This is the end of this. This is the starting of params. Means I want to pass another parameter, you can provide it like this. Okay, and so on. So now uh, there are many different tags actually. Action tags are there which do have a specific meaning. Okay, so but we are covering only the basic one, because if you see in NetBeans, if you see in NetBean, then we can see after giving JSP colon, you can find many action tags actually. Okay. One among them is a fallback, means if the above script is unable to run, then it will go to this fallback and state that unable to start plugin. Okay, it's like an exception when it is thrown. So JSP colon fallback. Okay, and in this we have to close this JSP colon plugin. Okay, just some small snippet of code. And now what I need to do is, what is the type here? The type of attribute is applet, means it is trying to create an applet, or it will take another value called as an bean. Okay, so as I told you, the plugin takes two types. One is either applet or Java bean. So it to have two values now, either bean or applet. We'll see in the upcoming classes how to create a bean, but now this instance we'll create an applet and we'll try to append the applet to our HTML page. Okay, so now, so the code, we need to write the code now. What is the code here is message. So I need to write a class corresponding to this message, and it has to be extend the applet. Have you learned applets in Java? Have you learned
No, sir.
applet?
No, sir.
Actually, it should be there in your syllabus, I think. So it was there actually. So I don't know. You have to
Maybe
learn. Yeah.
in core Java, we are going to discuss about applets, sir. Like ma'am said.
That in the code Java only you do have applets. In advanced Java, you do have JDBC, Servlet, JSP, web
Oh,
related contents. All these things comes under the advanced Java actually. So you should know the basics of Java, how Java has been classified. Like Java have many editions, like Java Standard Edition, Java Enterprise Edition, Java Micro Edition. So learn about this, which concepts comes under which thing. Okay, so what is Enterprise Edition, is what comes under Enterprise Edition. Okay, you learn those concepts, just overview. Actually applets comes under your core Standard Edition. So that was the basics of creating an uh, uh, embedding the Java inside an HTML page. That was a previous technology. So now, for example, we see that if you want to create an applet, then actually it need to extend a class called as an applet class. So how does it possible? So means I have to write a normal class. Okay, so the message is actually, my class name is, it should extends which class? Applet class. So where applet is located, it is located under java dot applet dot a capital applet. Okay, this is one class. So I'm extending this class, means all the properties of this will be inherited under this our own message class. Okay, so now if you observe that I'm creating one string which is trying to accept a message. Okay, so I will take an MSG. Okay, now it do have certain properties, like it do have a life cycle, actually life cycle of an applet. So it has the init method which will initialize your applet. So I will take this message equal to get parameter. So from where this parameter will get it, we'll get the parameter from here which we are passing. So I'm passing here m. Okay, so m parameter I have to receive it here like m. Okay, and what I can do, there is a method called as an paint method which will actually write upon your applet. So applet actually uh, is an AWT, abstract window toolkit. We do have a graphics class. So from the graphics class we create a graphics to draw the string. Okay, so we'll write g dot, I think you have to do all these things. These are basics in Java, Nana. Okay, I don't know. Message comma the location where it to be print out on the graphics. So I'm just closing. So there are two methods I'm overriding. One is init method and a paint method. So actually the destroy method will automatically call upon the closing of the applet, so I'm not overloading that. Okay, so here just I'm closing this. Okay, now what the thing is, it actually creates an applet, and that applet will be binding to your HTML page. Okay, so let us quickly analyze this, that how to write the code. Okay, so Did you write the login page? No. So if you want to write a plugin, so anywhere in the JSP page you can write a plugin. So better we'll create a new file. So under project in the web pages, right click and click on new JSP. Okay. So here I just specify this as an sample plugin. Okay. So a sample plugin is created now. So what I am trying to do is I'm just trying to print that this is example of plugin. Okay. Now JSP colon plugin. So the type of this applet, the it have a code, the name of the Java class file, the plugin will execute. You must include the dot class extension in the name. The class file you specify should be in the directory named in the code base attribute. So now I'll create a class message, and there are some other properties for this like height, headspace. These are like all normal attributes which are there with the JSP plugin. Okay. Now inside a JSP plugin I can write an JSP colon params to create multiple params. If I have only single param, you can go with JSP param also. So just to demonstrate how multiple parameters can be passed, we can use that. So JSP params, it do have two things. One is called as name, like m value equal to welcome to CS or welcome to WP. Okay. So here actually you can use this as a singular tag. So now it will try to embed an applet. So now I need to create an applet file. So how to create this? So I have to go with the source package, new Java class I have to create, and the class name is like message. So this message actually extends what java dot applet. Now so I just create a string which will accept our message and which will have init. Okay, a init method void. So actually it should be public method such that all others can accept this. So now see this, it's an override annotation. So because you have to add an annotation for this stating that it is overridden, okay, from an applet. Okay. All right. So similarly, just in a initialization we have to assign this value called as message equal to get parameter of a string name. What is the string name here? There I given m. Okay, so m is the parameter that I received. Now public void paint is a method which actually takes an graphics object, and with the help of a graphic object we can draw on upon, means it will draw on the applet. Okay, draw string is a method.
Sir, what is the use of applets, sir?
Yeah,
What is the use of applets?
actually used to embed the object inside your HTML page. Okay, it's a small Java program. While we run this, it will create an object, okay, which belongs to applet, and that applet is capable of executing on a HTML page actually. Okay, so in the previous days, people used to create an Java objects, and because we directly can't write Java in HTML, is it? Okay, if you want to run some Java code, then this was a process earlier.
But now we
Earlier
are using JSP, no, sir?
we are using JSP, but we have to know that what is the capability of doing the previous concept. Actually, in the beginning only I told you this is a deprecated thing. Okay, JSP plugin, but still in examination they can ask you. That's the only the reason I'm just telling you what can be done. Is it clear?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So now we'll go to our file. Which file was that? Sample plugin.jsp. Okay, right click and run the file. We'll see, it actually depends on the browser whether if browser supports that applet or not, when it will run. This is, do you want to allow the app from an unknown publisher to make changes to your device? Yes. Windows has blocked the software because it can't be verified the publisher. Okay, so what is happened here is actually it is sending us a code which is actually an param Java code which have a message, which have a parameter, and this Java X applet application now, because a object is not sent. Okay, from an object code of this. Okay, from the code base, actually it has to be uploaded to the code base, but initially try to search in the own location. So here from object to object, your Java JSP plugin is generating this particular code. Okay, so here as it is have a class ID, and this has to be uploaded to the code base actually. Okay, so that is the reason it is stating that it is not from a genuine vendor, such that I can run this application. Okay, so let us try to write a dot class file for this, such that it can search for the current location. Yes, yeah, there is a process for this, that I need to register for running off of the applications over here. So let us try to run this in another browser. I think that will be generated same problem. Okay, so okay, so here is actually trying to run from this version of this Java core message dot class. Okay, so actually the browsers are now are actually they are blocking this content. Okay, because the applications that which have been embedded, okay, like x.java applet, it is not executing. So we'll see that that it has an blocker. So actually I allow it from the blocker also, still it's not executing. So we'll check this. Okay, so but for instance, just try to remember that JSP plugins will rectify this code anyhow. Okay, we'll see that what exactly generating the problem is, but just try to remember that where it can have an applet, and that applet creates an object, and that object we are embedding inside of an plugin. Okay, so this actually creates an object ID. So that object ID refers to an class ID here. So because dot class, giving dot class or directly the class name means the same actually. Again the pop-up blocker. Okay, if you see the view page source code, then this is a class ID that is generated for that particular class, okay, for that object. So which takes a parameter called as an M and is passing to welcome to WP. So actually that applet here, actually it generates an applet. And that applet will be embedded as an object here. We'll see in the next class. Okay, I'll resolve the problem anyhow. It will take some time to resolve that because I need to make the application that it is an assured one. Okay, because unknown applications will not be executed, so I have to configure some other concepts here, like I have to make this as an versionings and all those things, publisher name and so on, that while publishing this application. Okay, right. So this is all about the action tags. So still we do have more action tags, like if you observe JSP colon, so like fallback, forward already we have seen, get properties. Okay, so this all belongs to the beans. Okay, we call this as in Java beans. So in the next class we'll see about Java bean action tags and how it can be. So uh, before ending the action tags, we will see uh, what is how session is tracked and what are the session tracking mechanisms available in JSP. Okay, this is a very important topic. Okay, because there are other tags which specifies me, like beans is there. Okay, so beans are reusable components, as I told you. This is pending, we'll discuss later. Okay, so only that action tag is pending. Remaining action tags I explained you what are all the action tags, like forward, include, okay, params. Okay, so those are action tags. So here I will create a new page, tracking. Okay, this is an important concept called as session tracking. So now let me explain what a session is. So as I told you, HTTP is a stateless protocol. What do you mean by that? So when client sends a request upon HTTP, so this is a stateless protocol. Means the HTTP is only responsible for carrying the request from the user or the client to the server or to another machine, but it's nowhere responsible to store the details of the user. Okay, who the client is. Okay, whether client is Wasim sir or whether client is any other uh, customer is. Okay, so hence this actually again transfer the response back to the server to the client. Again, it will not maintain any details about the server and so on. So suppose you are visiting to some website, for example Amazon. Okay, you think you are visiting like a guest. There is a concept of guest where you can visit a site where guest. Okay, so now as a customer you are browsing some products here. Okay, now for the next visit, means after 15 days you visited again the Amazon. Okay, again same as a guest. Do you feel that Amazon will recall you that you are the user? Are you getting my words? Have you ever tried this? Have you ever tried this? Response to me. 58 members are there. Have you ever visited Amazon?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Probably you have been
Yes, sir.
logged in. you have been logged in Amazon and you visited it, that if you logged in, then your details will be there as in the server, then it can try to recall that what you have been browsed. But even though as you logged in as a guest without login, okay, still it can able to recall that what the request you have been made earlier. Okay. So actually the concept is here is, suppose if you made a request 1 for the server, okay, the HTTP will never remember that what the request you have been made. Suppose if you are requesting for some another thing, request 2 has been put up, okay, then it is only responsible for transferring the data between the client and the server, but nowhere it relates the request and responses. Okay, for example, you made a request, it put up a response. So again you put up a request, it will just send you the response, but nowhere it relates a request response cycle will not maintain by the HTTP now. Okay. So suppose for example you are attempting an online quiz, for example. Okay, means there are some 10 quiz questions are there. Okay, so now you are putting up a request for question number 1. Question number 1 is been sent now. Okay, means you will be displaying Q1. Okay, so again you will click on next, then question 2. Okay, then Q2 you are requested and Q2 is sent to you. Okay, now this HTTP will never recall that how many requests you have been made and so on. So for tracking of such type of activity what you are doing on your web page, okay, we have to go with the session tracking. Okay, so session tracking is a mechanism where we are able to track what a user is doing on a web page. Okay, how many number of requests he have made, okay, what type of request he have been made, okay, what type of responses he got. So all such type of activities we are going to track. So for tracking those details we have to make use of this concept called as a session tracking. Are you able to understand? Okay, means here you will write some script. For example, there is an online quiz, so we'll write one page like an quiz.jsp, which will just accept the uh, question number, means which question number you are, and the second question will be sent. Suppose if you are requesting for a second question, then it will send you the second question and so on. Means your HTTP will not track. I have to create a mechanism here in the either the server end or at the client end, such that I can able to recall or correlate the request and the responses, request and response cycle. So here there are different mechanisms. So basically we use 4 different types of mechanisms called as hidden form fields. Okay, the second mechanism is URL rewriting. The third mechanism is, means here what I was stating you is, like if you are requesting for question number 2, okay, then prior you have been submitted question number 1. Okay, this I need to track. Okay, so how many leftover questions are there, this I need to track. So for that I need to write some logic over here, and I have to track that how many requests earlier he have been made and what current request he has been making. Okay, he has been making. So those things I have to make a track. Okay, like for example you have browsed the server for with n number of requests, request 1, request 2, request 3 and so on. Okay, then depending upon your request it will make us some suggestions. Okay, so a suggestions machine learning application will run. Okay, then some suggestions will be sent to you. Okay, after 15 days if you log in also, the same searched queries will be displayed to you. Okay, even though you are a guest. Okay, until unless you clear the cookies or you clear certain details of your browser, it can able to track as a guest. Okay, but still if you have been logged in, means in the login it will save the details, like it will save your search related queries. Okay, the search related queries will be saved in the persistent data. We will discuss later that how exactly that is done. Okay, but now just a very simple concept that there are 4 different types of mechanism of session tracking. One is hidden form fields, URL rewriting, cookies, and sessions. Okay, so one by one we'll see that how this can be achieved. Okay, we'll take the same example of attempting a questions upon a web page. Okay, then we will see how to manage these things. So in the hidden form fields, what happens is, okay, the server, actually at the very first beginning, I will request the user for a question number 1. Okay, so it sends me the question number 1. So a question will be displayed, question 1. Okay, then I will save this q1 as a hidden field. I will save this because there is a in the form there is a hidden type. Okay, if you remember that input type equal to hidden, do you remember? Okay, so it do have a name and value. So the name I will give it like a q. Okay, and the value I'll give it as a 1. So internally it will hide. So what happened upon the next request? Okay, I'll make a request 2. Okay, means I will click a next button here. Okay, and the previous button. Okay, so when I click on a next button, so along with this request, the hidden field will also be submitted to the server. Okay, then I can able to know that already he attempted question number 1, then question 2 has to release. Okay, then again this hidden field will be replaced by 2 now. Okay, then if I click on next, then what will happen for the third request? I can able to fetch this hidden field, then I can send him the question 3. And the question 3 will be sent upon the clicking on the next button. If I click on previous, then what should happen? As I know the current value of the question where he is, okay, I can just decrement that question number such that that question can be displayed to the user. Means what I am doing here is, at the user end, at the client end, I am saving certain details regarding the his searches or his query. Okay, means there is a drawback here. What is the drawback here is, he can modify this hidden field now. For example, he will make this value called as a 9, then directly he can jump upon the question number 9 by escaping the sequence. Okay, so means the data, if the data is sensitive, then that will become a problem. Okay, in the hidden form fields. So actually in the hidden form field, the values will not be displayed to the user. So the user will be not aware of this, that what is happening behind the pages, until the user is sharper or user is some a coder or a developer. People will not see that view source code and modify the fields and so on. They will not do that. Okay, so at some stages, if the data is not sensitive, then we can go with this mechanism of tracking the user with the help of hidden fields. So quickly we'll write a program, then you can able to understand that what exactly I'm speaking is. Okay, so I'll simply create a form, new web page, JSP page, and that mechanism here is hidden form session tracking. I am proceeding this with ST for session tracking, or at the beginning itself I will write ST underscore hidden form field. Like ST is for session tracking with the help of hidden form field. Okay, so click on finish. So now you have to understand that why we are making use of this principle of hidden form field. Means the data is hidden, so I will placing the data over here. In the second type of mechanism, in URL rewriting, instead of storing the data inside of an form hidden field, I will send the data as a part of URL. Okay, means question number I will send like question number 1. So it will be visualized under the URL bar while sending the data. So that type of mechanism we call it as a URL rewriting. So when we are making a request to the server, along with the request I will send the session details. Okay, means the user what the activity he is doing now, I will send up on the in the URL. Okay, it is also vulnerable now. because you can change the question number to like 12. Okay, there are only 10 questions, so how, where comes the 12 number question is? Okay, so that probably the sensitive data we can't send again under a URL rewriting. Okay, third type of mechanism is cookies. Hope you have heard about cookies. Okay, nowadays all the websites will use the cookies. So cookies are actually a small piece of data, okay, which is not even as a part of hidden field or not in a URL. So it is a small piece of data, okay, which store at a client browser. So in the browser end we have some cache memory. Under the cache memory the cookies will be stored now. Okay, so the cookies actually consist of many details, like most of the cookie details are like which is used for identify the user. Okay, to identify the user the cookies will be sent. Okay, for example, by default the JSP engine upon a request of every individual clients, it will create a session ID. And the session ID will be sent as a part of cookie to the browser. Suppose for example, let us run a very simple code, like login page only. Login page, right click, run the file. So here let me copy this and open that in another browser. It will anyhow open it. Okay, here you can see that there is an icon called as an like information. You click on information, then you can see that your connection is not secure because we are not using HTTPS protocol anyhow, and but you are using 3 cookies here. Okay, so what are those cookies are? Under a cookies folder you can observe that there are different cookies here. One is JSession ID. So this JSession ID is nothing but this cookie is created for identity of a user. The name of the cookie is JSession ID and the content is something like a number, a random number, which is generated when we request to a server. Okay, and this is about another cookie which is stored by, it is all auto generated cookies there are. Okay, so this is a user name localhost 888. So this is corresponding to actually to the virtual server, okay, that is running on my current machine. So these 3 cookies have been sent by the server to the browser now. Okay, so if I block this or if I remove this, remove, remove and remove, means I'm not accepting the policies of a particular web page now. Okay, means most of the websites nowadays are asking that to accept all the cookies, means they will send the cookies that is corresponding to the user, and as well as it will send the cookies that are related to the third party. Okay, if we do have some third party application installed upon that web page, then it will send n number of cookies. For example, if we see that uh, in the Azure, so in the Azure portal, I'll go to the portal. My account. Okay, so now if you see this, that uh, this also is sending some cookies to me now. Okay, you log into any website. Okay, so like Google. Okay, so now if you see this, when I have gone to Google website, then see how many cookies are there. How many cookies are there? Observe here. How many cookies are there?
25.
25.
Okay, if I type JSP tutorial, then if you see this, earlier it was 25, now it has been reduced to 21. It has been increasing or decreasing depending upon our request now. Okay, so now what are these 21 cookies are? I visited only google.com, but the response has been come from different sources now. ogs.google.com, subdomain of Google. Okay, www.google.com, gstatic.com. Okay, means it is sending some cookies to me. Gstatic is sending uh, one cookie with an response of this. Okay, so it is sending me some details. Okay, some content. These are the content that belongs to that cookie. So this is the cookie name, this is the content. Okay, like Google. Now Google is sending some different things apart from uh, cookies, like local storage and session storage. So these are the extra things that the browser supports nowadays. Okay, so which is also used to track the user, like it stores like a database. Okay, so it's these are two storage devices which are local and session storage. We are concentrating on cookies now, like DV is a cookie which has some random value. Okay, and OTZ again it has some value. Okay, so all these values are now try to recall me who the user is, because I have been logged in now. That is the reason that all the search related to my search will be stored under my login credentials. Okay, because I shifted to another machine now, means whatever I browsed, whatever I had done on Google is now recording. Now it is recorded with the help of these cookies and all those things. Okay, you see that OTZ is also there here in ogs.google.com, and it is also there as here in in google.com. Means both are giving the same value or different value. If you check, it's a different values, but the preceded address 34 34 34 is same. Okay, means all these things specifies me that actually this cookies do have multiple attributes called as a name, value. Content is nothing but value, name, value, the domain from where it has created, the path, the website from where exactly it is running. Means it is running actually from the main website, so that is a slash. Okay, so send for secure name site connections only. Okay, there is a purpose that why it has been sent now. Okay, so now if you see this G static cookie, so secure connections only. Okay, so it is stating that for making a security concern, it is sending us the uh, cookies now. Okay, similarly any website nowadays will send you the cookies. So that's all cookies are for tracking. So cookies have some disadvantages, we'll see in details while we implement those concepts, that what are, because it can only store a small amount of data, because like only 4 KB of data can be sent under a cookie. So that is a drawback, and the cookies can be deleted by in the browser, and cookies can be blocked by browser. That is the reason we have to go with the fourth mechanism called as a session. So instead of storing the data at the client end, we'll store the data at which end now? At the server end, with the help of a session object. Okay, so by default a session will be created, a session object will be created, and all the activities of the user will be stored under that particular session object. So that we will see in detail in the implementation, that what are all these 4 different kinds of mechanisms are there. Okay, like starting from hidden form fields, URL rewriting, cookies, and sessions. Okay, this is very important topic in JSP. So earlier what we have done, we have said we have sending the parameters to the like in the username and password. If you verify, while it is successful, we are forwarding the username. Okay, this is not the perfect way to forward the data between the pages. We have to use the cookies or sessions corresponding to that. So the best mechanism is to send the data with the help of sessions, then the session will be maintained. Okay, because you have seen that we are checking in the login page whether user is there or not, user parameter is there or not. If it is there, then we are asking him to stay on the page. Okay, if the user is null, then redirect to login page. That is the reason that every time if you are not logged in, you are trying to access the home.jsp, it is redirecting to login.jsp. So try to remember that sessions are the perfect way to for session tracking. Okay, so right, so we'll implement now one principle called as an hidden form field, with the help of a simple mechanism of attempting a quiz, like next and previous button. If I click, then it has to store me the details about what user is doing the activities. Okay, right. We'll maximize this. So can anyone tell me what is this tag is for?
Scripted. Scripted.
This tag is meant for scriptlet. Okay, I'm creating one variable called as an int current equal to 0. The scope of this current will be only from this scriptlet. Okay, the scriptlet only. Okay, you want a global variable, then you have to go with a declaration. That is a different issue, but I want the scope to be in the current scenario, then I will go with this. Okay, last, so I'm just accepting two parameters. Get parameter, one is like an integer or some q value. Remember this q value. So because I need to write an HTML page for this button, this is to actually request to get the question value, and this is to get the buttons, which button user has clicked now. So whether he's clicking on next button or previous button, I can able to know. Okay, so depending upon that, I'll move further. Button is not equal to null, then if button dot equals to next, yeah, first of all let me write the program, then I'll explain you. Current equal to integer dot % of last plus 1. Okay, integer is not there, integer. Okay, right. So now if we press the next button, then this should happen. Okay, then else if you press the any other button, means I will place only two buttons now, next and previous, means it has to do subtraction for me. Okay, and simply I will out dot println current value I will display. Okay, so here I can
Sir,
give
there -1.
Sir, minus 11, minus 1, sir.
it is -1 actually, not 11. Okay, question number is plus space. Okay, right. So here now this is the part of Java code we are reading under JSP. Now I will create break, then I will write form name equal to, like, you can give name for a form like my form. You can give method, so I'm giving like a post method. I don't want to see the values inside the URL. Input type equal to, I want to store this under hidden. Okay, name is equal to q value, and actually the value I want to give is like equal to, provide an expression now equal to current value. Okay, please try to understand here what is happening is, like it is trying to take the dynamic value from where, from the current value, means whatever the current value is there, it will be replaced over here with a current value. Okay, means I'm not writing a static value here. Earlier in HTML what we used to do, we used to write 1 or 2 or something like this. Now here it will replace with the current value. So initially the current value will be 0 because no button is clicked, so the current value is displayed over here. Okay, so that as a part of hidden form field we are doing. Okay, so I will write an comment. Question number is stored in hidden form. Here we are storing this. Okay, now just try to create two things. One is input type equal to submit. The name I am giving it like an button. Okay. So, and the value I will give the value as next. Okay, so we can create multiple submit buttons, no issues. Okay, but here the value name will be same, but I'll just change the value to previous, previous. Okay, now here try to understand that every time when user click on the submit button, the name of the button is button, so this parameter will be passed over here. Okay, and we'll get a button. Okay, so the button will get a string, so either it is not null, then we are checking whether what is the value of that. Okay, so request.get parameter of button will get me the value, so what he have been clicked, whether he have been clicked on next or not. So this next is in capital, so I will write it as a next as capital. Okay, then if it matches, then the current value will be incremented to 1. Okay, then if it is previous, then the current value will be decremented, and that will be printed upon your question number is. Okay. So let us save this simple program and run the file. Okay, we got it two things now. One is next and previous. Okay, if I click on next, what should happen now? It should increment. Okay, if I click on previous, then every time it is executing the page, the JSP page, and it is decrementing the value. If I view the source code, then you can understand that view source code. Then in the hidden field, you will be knowing what is the value, the current value is. The current value is what? 2. Okay, so if I click on next, the question number 3 and the current hidden value is also 3. So there are chances that user can modify this value. Okay, from the inspect you can modify this value and you can submit. Okay, like for example, actually this is not possible here, but we'll see in Chrome. Okay, if I press function F11 and the another elements, under the source, you can go it here. Okay, let us click for next. Okay, now the next value, hidden value is in change now. Okay, we can actually modify this. Open in network panel, copy. Yeah, there is a way that we can modify. I will let you know this. Okay, that actually the HTML pages can be modified here. Okay, So if I manually change the value like 12 here, so by default the hidden value is changed now. Okay, then that will be submitted the 12 to the server. Okay, so this is not a secure way of handling the sessions. So that is the reason we have to go for an alternate way. So the alternate ways are like we can go with the URL rewriting and so on. So we have to know what are the advantages and disadvantages with every individual mechanism of session tracking. So that is the thing. Sir, I want to get the question numbers now. I want to get a question along with the options. Okay, then we have to write a code for that. We have to actually dynamically store the values from database, and we have to retrieve those values from the database, and we have to select 4 options like checkboxes or radio buttons depending upon the question, whether it is a multiple options questions or what. Then upon that we can write the logic. Okay, that we'll see in the upcoming classes, that within real-time application we can do that. So in the grocery, if you want to take the review of a user, okay, what is the satisfaction level of the user is, then at that time we can create such type of things. Okay, right. So the whole concentration is on this home page. Upon the completion of the session tracking, we'll see more details that how we can enhance this code such that it can be used in a real-time scenario.